What's going on, guys? It's Bucky and welcome to your 38th JavaScript tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to begin talking about JavaScript and forms. Now, one of the reasons why JavaScript is so popular today in web design is because it has this built-in ability to work perfectly with forms, especially when I talk about verifying data. For example, if you had a form on your website and you wanted the user to enter email, well, you don't want just them to put in like tuna fish or, a bunch of numbers. You want an actual email with an @ sign and a dot for like .com. So you want to be able to verify this data, and that's where JavaScript comes in handy. So again, sometimes people learn JavaScript only for form validation, so that shows you how big a part of JavaScript and forms go together. So if you're ever reading a JavaScript book, they devote entire chapters to JavaScript and forms. So enough of me talking, let me just show you guys a quick example. So in order to start, I basically want to tell you this. Whenever you add I'm not talking about JavaScript now, just basic XHTML. Whenever you add a form to your web page, in JavaScript, it creates a form object automatically. You don't have to, go through var x new form equals yada 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 yada. JavaScript automatically creates a form object, and all we need to do is learn how to access the information in that form. So what I'm going to be doing in this tutorial is creating a basic form using XHTML, and then we're just going to be, accessing it, and I don't know, maybe print out a property or something. So let's go ahead and make a basic form in XHTML. Since this isn't JavaScript, make sure it's outside your script tags. This is just basic XHTML, HTML, whatever you want to call it. So form, and let's go ahead and add three elements. Username, and this is just an input. And again, if you don't know what I'm doing right here, go and watch my XHTML tutorials, and I'll tell you guys all about it. So anyways, I'm just going to make a simple text box first, and then I'm going to make, to be honest, you don't have to copy my form exactly. Just go ahead and make any form you want with some elements in it. I just want something to work with on the screen. So make another password box and then go ahead and make a submit button. So input type equals submit, value equals submit. So now if we go ahead and print this out, we should have a basic form with your username, a password, and a submit button. So we have a website with a basic plain old form on it. Easy enough. So in this tutorial, like I said, I just want to show you guys how to access this form in, JavaScript language. So before I start typing, let me tell you guys this. JavaScript has a very unique way of identifying forms on your web page. It identifies them, first of all, it puts them all into a form array. So if you had a website with 8 different forms in it, it would have 8 different elements in that form array. And again, like I said, you don't need to create this explicitly. Whenever you have forms on your web page, JavaScript sees that and it creates your array for you automatically. So if you're saying, alright, we know that it automatically created an array object already, and it created that form array, but how do I access this form right here? Well, just like anything else in arrays, JavaScript numbers each object in your array. So the first form, say you had like 3 different forms on your webpage. The first form would be form 0, array index 0. The second form would be form 1. The third form would be form 2. So as you can see, the more forms you have on your web page, the more elements in the array, and that's how you access them. So again, since we only have one form, and I'll basically only be working with one form in these examples, we're going to access that using forms 0, since remember 0 in arrays are the first element in the array. So let's go ahead and one of the properties in forms, this forms object, is length. And the length of a form is basically how many items do you have in it. Well, we have one input right here, one input box, another input box right here, and a button right here. So this form has 3 elements in it. So if we were to print out the length of this form, it would be 3. So let's go ahead and show you guys how to do that. Just go ahead and we'll set it equal to the variable x. Why not? And in order to access the form, you write document dot forms and whatever form you want to access. And like I said, since this is the one and only form, this is going to be form 0. If you wanted to access the fifth form, say you had 5 forms, it would be form 4 because 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth item in your array, or excuse me, fourth index would be form 5. So easy enough. This is form 0 since it's the first one. So again, your document, which is basically your web page, has an array object that's built in already called forms. Now that forms array object has a built-in property called length. And that length property, like I said, is how many elements are in your form. 1, 2, 3. So now we have the variable 3 stored in X. So now let's just go ahead and print that out to verify it. Document.write X. So now whenever we refresh and load our web page, we should get that form still, but under it we should have a nice pretty little 3 right here. And let me go ahead and take one of these elements out, take this password out, and just refresh it just to show you guys that indeed it changes to 2 because now there are only 2 elements, the input box and the submit button. So that is the basics of how you access different forms in JavaScript. Again, the form is part of the document. The document is basically your web page body itself. Now that body has an object called forms, and it's a built-in forms array. So that's how we access that using document.forms. Now this forms has a property that's the length. So that's why we had to access that using .length. So again, what you want to take away from this tutorial is this. Whenever you have a lot of different forms on your web page, you need to identify them using your built-in array object, and that's called forms. And in order to differentiate between different forms, you need to say what form you're looking at. And each form has a built-in property called length, and that is of course how many elements are in your form. And then what we did is we just counted the elements and printed it out on the screen. So now that you know how to identify your forms, and again, with these tutorials, we're going to be working with form 0 basically all the time. We're never going to have more than one form, and you typically don't, but anyways, I just want to go over that. So anyways, that's all I'm going to talk to you guys about for this tutorial. It's getting kind of lengthy, but thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next video.